Hi guys, Climax Legend here for a UU match against my good friend PikaFTW321. As you may remember, I did do one on Pokemon Showdown, but this one's from my DS. And I've also got some cool background code. For some reason the actual my actual Pokemon color hex might not work, I'm not 100% sure about that. Yeah, as you can see, this is a UU battle. Yeah, it's a UU battle. How laggy is it when I press 2 to speed up? Pretty laggy. Oh, you can see random buttons on screen. Yeah, so I got my Pythagoras, but I did actually lead with my Zoroark, and he knew that, so he went for the U-turn. And I knew he was going to U-turn to kill my Zoroark, so I went into my Pythagoras because he resists it. That doesn't really matter that I got money on him, because it basically resets your ability anyway when you come back in. Well, I mean, when you are withdrawn from the battle. So he goes into his Tornadus. Why do I call it that? Tornadus. I can't say that word very well. But as we can see here, this is actually a pretty good battle. Background, I like it. It's in the sky with purple things, so I go for a Will-O-Wisp. Because Will-O-Wisps burn, and I like burns. I prefer Toxic, but I'm quite lucky I'm playing UU, not OU, because he could have used Tornadus Tyrion, which has the ability Regenerator, which basically would make it so he could regenerate all his health. Well, not all his health, but he could regenerate up to a third of his health by calling back his Tornadus. But I switch into my Robocop, which is my Registeel. Yeah, I like my Registeel. He's a pretty good Pokemon. So he goes for the Fake Out, which, well, I knew was coming. But the funniest thing is, this actually ends up doing more damage to him, because I have leftovers on this Registeel, so I actually don't basically lose any health from that Fake Out, and he loses 10% of his. Which I find really quite funny. So he now goes for a U-turn, because he just basically just does barely any damage to my Robocop, because the resistance. And he has now just lost some health because of it. But I don't know if that Pokemon actually gets a ability Regenerator or not. So now he brings in his Claydol. So because he's a Psychic type, well, basically I go for the Stealth Rocks because they're always useful, and he has a Darmanitan. So even though I know Claydol's going to Rapid Spin them, so I should have went into my Pythagoras to stop the Rapid Spin, I went into my Zoroark disguised as Whitney Houston to take it out with a Dark Pulse. But first I'm going to Nasty Plot. Yeah, I definitely should have went into my Pythagoras, because then he couldn't have got the Rapid Spin off. So as you can see, that is my Zoroark. And I'm going to go for a Nasty Plot, because Nasty Plot is a really good move. Also, I hope you like my layout, like my background and stuff around this video, which says what's in my team and stuff. Like that. I might put X's through Pokemon that die, but I might not. Probably not though, because it's quite a lot of work. Even though that is a defensive Claydol, that does a lot, because Zoroark's defenses are so bad, but his attacks are brilliant. So the Dark Pulse I knew would with +2 life orb. I mean times 2 damage life orb and amazing stats, which basically puts a lot of damage onto that Claydol, and it was either going to bring it down to like 1% or something or kill it. And it turns out it does knock it out. As you can see, I switch out because well, I don't really want Darmanitan hitting my Zoroark, but I did forget one thing. No, I'm just kidding. I know he was going to U-turn because it was Zoroark, but if he was to have predicted that switch and went for Flare Blitz, I would have been completely destroyed, because this is not a physically defensive I was about to call it Robocop. That's just its nickname. But this is actually a Registeel, not a Robocop. But this is a specially defensive, not a physically defensive. So yeah. So basically, the Flare Blitz would have taken this out if he was to predict that. And I forget that he's actually specially defensive. Wait, no I don't. I just go for the Seismic Toss because I wanted to get a bit of damage on this Tornadus. So basically I'm at full health. He loses extra health because of burn. So I'm just like, one more Seismic Toss will kill, as long as his Heat Wave doesn't kill. But he takes this so well, because he's so specially defensive. He only loses like 100 HP from a super effective move on a probably full special attacker. So the special attacker is now all gone. Yeah, he's probably special attacker. So basically that Tornadus is now down because of the Seismic Toss, and I only lost like 100 HP from that. And this is where I forget that this is actually not a mixed defense. So he goes for the Flare Blitz. If this was mixed and was to have taken that last thing so well, I would have been very surprised actually. So I somehow forgot this is actually a specially defensive, not physically defensive. So I accidentally keep it in. I was going to go for an Earthquake, I believe. But yeah, I forgot this was actually a specially defensive Registeel, not a physically defensive or mixed. So now I go back into my Zoroark. I'm pretty sure it's my Zoroark. I don't know why I'd go into my... So I forget, he is pretty much gonna definitely be Scarfed. So anyway, that's my Zoroark down, but he did do quite well taking out his one of his walls, being Claydol, in one hit, because he is just so good. Zoroark should not be an underused, he should definitely be an OU, which means overused. And now I'm going to go into my defensive Pythagoras. And he knows it's a defensive build, so he goes into his Tempoleon, aka Empoleon. But I rest off because I thought he was actually going to Flare Blitz. Even though this is a fully physical defensive build, it would have still lost over 100 HP. Because of how high the attack stats on Darmanitan are. They are amazingly high. So I just switch out into my actual Meloetta, aka Whitney Houston. And I've now got messages on Skype, which I will tend to after this video. So he goes up for a Stealth Rocks, because, well, Stealth Rock's always good. And I go for my T-Bolt on a full special attacking Meloetta, which does do quite a lot of damage. I was hoping for about that much, so that's pretty good. Full special attack, and having Life Orb equals quite a lot of damage. So he roars me out into my Golurk, which I'm okay with. Because Golurk, he's okay. So I was hoping that this Shadow Punch that I'm about to do would actually kill from this range, considering it has got the Iron Fist ability and a choice band. But unfortunately not, so that was a very big mistake, because I knew he was going to go for a Scald or a Surf or Hydro Pump or something like that. Some sort of water move. So I should have just switched into my, well, one of my defensive walls to take it. But for some reason I didn't, so there goes one of my main attackers. And now he's pretty much gonna die from the T-Bolt from my Meloetta. And he just thinks, oh, might as well just let this thing die. It's done a good job. It's got rocks. It's killed one of his Pokemon, so, well, fainted, but still. So I'm just gonna let it die to a T-Bolt, is what he was probably thinking. So Meloetta here is the boss. So he is going to bring out his choice Scarfed Darmanitan. I'm like, for some reason I didn't switch, even though I knew the U-turn would do a lot. But I live at 11 HP. Take that. He was expecting to KO with his amazing stats, but little does he know this has actually got pretty nice special defense on Meloetta as well. So now I actually went for a Psychic, which doesn't do that much to a Dusclops. So there goes my Whitney Houston slash Meloetta slash whatever you want to call it. So that goes down. Now we're going into my Xatu, which is specially offensive, which is actually a very weird thing to see. Most of the time they are defensive builds, but I'm so pro, so I'm running one with Shadow Ball, which is obviously super effective against Ghost types and Psychic types. So yeah, so he's pretty much gonna go for the I think he's gonna go for the Pain Split now. I break his sub with the Shadow Ball and he Pain Splits, which is a very good move. I love the move Pain Split. He basically does that so he can get another sub up. I think that's why he did it, but all I know is it does take away a lot of my health and give him a lot back. So I'm now down a fair bit of health, so I go for a Shadow Ball, hoping to get him low enough that he can't sub up again, if that was what he was intending to do. Luckily for me, well, not really that luckily for me, he goes for a Seismic Toss, which I think might take out my Xatu. No, I live on 26 HP and go for the Shadow Ball, which should take out that Dusclops. Yep, there goes the Dusclops. For some reason I'm running Twisted Spoon on this thing, not Life Orb. So he brings out his Darmanitan. He goes for the U-turn. I was like, this Xatu's done pretty well. It's only got 26 HP, so the only thing it'd be good for is to sack anyway, so he now has to go into his Mienshao. called Mean Machines, which is actually a YouTuber. He's actually pretty good. He does make very good graphics designs, like YouTube avatar logo thingies. So I'm going to my PikaFTW321 because PikaFTW321 is my main thing left. He goes for a Stone Edge, which actually I was not expecting. I was expecting him to be able to wall this mean shell a lot better. I thought he was just gonna have to U-turn out, but turns out he had Stone Edge. He probably would have had some other type of move, maybe Ice Punch or something like that. They should make Ice, Fire and stuff like that kicks as well. So there we go. I'm gonna stay asleep for this turn, which pretty much means that my coffin will die to one more Stone Edge if he decides to do that. But he decides to U-turn into his Darmanitan, which does absolutely nothing. I do believe that stops him from regenerating the health on the switch, but we will now. This is pretty much going to be the last. This is my last Pokemon, this PikaFTW321. So he's just going to finish this off with his Darmanitan because it is very overpoweredly epic. So I went for a rest because I was just trying to stall him out a little bit more because I'm so pro like that. Basically, he's just gonna do a couple of Flare Blitz and then that'll be the game. As you can see, Flare Blitz number 1 brings me down to 151 HP, which if I was to have had, well, it brings me down to 131, but the leftovers will put me up to 151. So if I was to have had an extra 10 HP, I would have survived one more, which would have possibly allowed me to take out his Darmanitan. But probably not, because my only attacking move is Shadow Ball. I've got Haze, Shadow Ball, Rest, and something else. But basically this is the last move of the game. It's the Flare Blitz. It's gonna end this game. And basically, thank you for a amazing game, Pika. This has been a very nice UU match against Pika for the win. And hope he enjoyed it as well. After all, he is gonna upload it himself. And I might actually start using Dusclops or Mean Shell. I do have a few of these Pokemon on Pokemon Black, but I have most of his team on Pokemon Black, but I don't really have many on Pokemon Black and White 2, which is what I played on, but he used his Pokemon Black because he hasn't really played Black 2 much yet. So I don't think we could have battled on that because I don't think he's got that far. Either that or he just wanted to do it on that because he had better Pokemon on it. So anyway guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video and the layout. If you did, please leave a like and a comment and maybe even sub or favourite, because it all helps a lot. See ya. Goodbye.